Jessica with Gold Rush Expeditions, and today we're in beautiful Colorado exploring this very cool old abandoned mine. The structure of this mere entrance is impeccable. It's very, very rare that you find a mine that is this big, this intact, and has this kind of masonry work. Can you just see the amount of detail and effort that went into building this wall right here? And this continues all the way inside the mine. This is a mine that is rare, that is right outside of Pitkin, Colorado. In fact, as you're driving into Pitkin on the main highway, you can actually see the mill attached to this mine, but you cannot see this entrance. You would have no idea this was up here. A mine like this is not something you find on public land every single day. This is something you would usually find on a patented mining claim that you would pay millions of dollars for. But here we are on Forest Service land and an unclaimed mine. The Roosevelt Mine is very historical and very rich in production in past years. How do I know that? Look at the sheer size of this thing, the sheer construction of it alone. You don't put this kind of money into a mine that isn't producing gold. We have water running directly out of this mine, and if you look inside the water coming out, it sparkles. It absolutely sparkles. In fact, I would not mind panning some of the water right here that's rushing out of the mine. This mine is abandoned today because whoever held the claim on it for years and years did not renew it. They did not pay their annual assessments, and the claim lapsed. This mine would have not been left because of lack of mineralization. This mine would have been left most likely because of the War Act. It was illegal to mine for anything that wasn't a strategic mineral for the war. Therefore, somebody who had a gold mine, it was illegal for them to work it. So a lot of times, men abandoned their mines, they went to war, they fought for our country, and when they came back, the world was a different place. We didn't have as many miners that were needed because there were a lot of other job opportunities. When exiting the main portal at the Roosevelt claim, you come right into a workshop, connected right to the main portal. It looks like it was a workshop by all the construction here. It doesn't go out anywhere else. And I wanted to just point out some very rare construction. This was built with wood as the main supports, and then stone was mortared all in here to cause even more support for this entire building, which is why this building is still standing today. I'm standing above hundreds of thousands of tons of tailings that came out of that portal that we just saw. In these tailings, I can see iron, which is where you're gonna find your gold, and I can see some gray rock, which is most likely gonna be your silver. So I've journeyed away from the Roosevelt portal and down to the processing site of the Roosevelt. This is considered a stamp mill, and it's actually in pretty good shape. Behind me here is what's considered a battery. A battery is an accumulation of 5 stamps, which are these pieces right here. These are my 5 stamps. A stamp is responsible for crushing up ore to smaller pieces so that they could extract the gold out. Down here is what did the crushing. So these would all alternate up and down, and they would crush that ore to smaller pieces so that we could extract the gold. This is one battery, which contains 5 stamps. And behind me here is a second battery. So this would be considered a 2-battery stamp mill or a 10-stamp mill. This stamp mill was originally manufactured in Denver, Colorado. I can see because it is stamped Denver, Colorado, and it's a Hendry and Boltoff. From reading the stamp mill, I have a feeling that this was not originally at this mine, nor was it originally assembled at this mine. It appears it may have been recycled, put together at another mill, and then bought or transferred to this site. Reason being is because they're labeled. You don't see this all the time. This one over here says R, and each of the stamps is labeled 1R, 2R, 3R, 4R, and 5R. Once you start going, they start to wear and their bearings get set in a certain direction. So if you transported this from another place and didn't set it up exactly right, then the weighted balance of it is going to be off and it's not going to stamp properly. The way the stamp mill kept moving was by the use of these cams up above me here. You can see that they're not all perfectly straight. They're not going to spin at the exact same speed. Basically what that is it's kind of a gravity force. You know, a object in motion stays in motion. One of those starts going and the counterbalance of the weight causes all of them to start moving, which causes these to go up and down. We're in a small canyon here, and the sound from a stamp mill like this would have been heard from towns far away from us. These things were very, very loud, and you knew when this mill was working. This entire mill was powered by water. There's a raging river just below us here, and the miners were ingenuitive enough that they actually caught the water further upstream, ran it through piping all the way to this mill, which turned that wheel, and then the water continued on all the way back to a house down below us that would have produced power. It would have been a powerhouse, all using just the river down below. Today, there is a huge push to use natural resources for power and all this craze going on right now. Well, could you imagine back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, miners had already thought about this. They were using the river to naturally power everything here just by using the motion of the water. Environmentally, that's absolutely safe.
Well, we got to walk in about 800 yards in there, and then the air meter started going off, and that was when they went it to about 16 point whatever. About 1,200 yards with the chain mill, that's when the air meter started going off to about 14.0. That's when we knew there was a problem. Maya's gut told us to keep going further, and there was a pocket of fresh air back up to 20, but then we had to go back through the bad air.
At Gold Rush Expeditions, we are selling this as a load and a placer mining claim. Load so that you can walk right into this tunnel, get the minerals right from the rock itself. Placer because this mine, as well as many other mines in the area, are washing away with each spring runoff, each winter melt, different heavy metals that are going to flow down into the river below, meaning this is an excellent spot for a placer claim as well. We don't put a placer claim on everything because a placer claim on everything doesn't make sense. You have to have a reason for the placer, which in this case is a perfect reason. There are minerals just flowing out of this mine. At Gold Rush Expeditions, we've been doing this for 10 years. We know where a good placer is going to be and a bad placer is going to be. So you won't see placer claims on everything, but this will definitely have one. For Gold Rush Expeditions, I'm Jessica, and we will see you at the next site.